It's 8 a.m. 8 a.m. on the West Coast. You know, some of us call the West Coast the best coast. But anyway, it's 8 a.m. Good morning, guys. Hopefully you can hear me. As promised, this is, I'm here. It's 8 a.m. I told you I'd be here. This is the California Kid calling in from the West Coast. Guys, I told you 4 days a week I'd be here with you, teaching you how to do this thing the professional way. And we are here, 8 a.m. in the morning out here on the West, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern. So listen, guys, listen, go ahead and wake up, brush your teeth, go ahead and send those text messages out. Let Sally, let Bill, let Tamara, let Tom, let all you people know he's on again. There he is. The black guy, he's back on. Here he is. So listen, guys, I'm taking roll call before we go ahead and start class. I see you, Rick. I see you, Sally. I see you, Mom. Good morning, Alex. Good morning. Good morning, Eric. I see you, brother. All right, guys. This is going to be a great one today. I told you 4 days a week. You might want to go ahead and calendar it. 4 days a week, I'm going to be right here with you, 8 a.m. Pacific, 8 a.m. Pacific live. That way you don't have to listen to the replay. Going to teach you how to do this thing from cradle to grave. And right now, yesterday we talked about, the day before yesterday, we talked about, you know, broke people. You know, we talked about that broke mindset. And then yesterday we talked about, you know, I'm comfortable. We talked about how to handle that mentality. And then today we're going to talk about how to deal with rich people. So it's going to be really good, guys. So go ahead and get your pen, get your paper. Hey, Carl, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. Good morning, everyone. Listen, we're getting started in 30 seconds. We're not going to delay greatness. We're not going to delay. So we'll be getting started in 30 seconds, guys. 30-second countdown. What a beautiful day it is out here on the West Coast. I hope it's beautiful where you're at. All right, guys. All right, guys. Good morning once again. Calling in from the West Coast. This is the California Kid. Listen, you can find us right here at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4 days a week. Notice I didn't tell you which 4 days because waking up at 8 is really tough for me. Maybe it's easy for you, but when you have residual income and, you know, you got things rolling, it's a little bit tough to go ahead and go back to what it used to be. You know, remember those days when you had to wake up at 6 and all that type of stuff to get to work and get through the traffic? No more. We don't do that anymore. We just don't do that. Okay, those days are over, long gone. We don't do that stuff around here. All right, guys, let's go ahead and dive on in. All right, so today we're talking about, guys, how to deal with rich people, how to deal with rich folk, how to deal with the rich people. How do I do that? Can somebody please help me? All right, I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you. Listen, I am not a singer. I'm not a singer. That's not what I am. I am not a singer. All right, I'm gonna help you. First of all, I want you to know when I got started in this industry, network marketing, direct sales, call it whatever you want. Just please don't call me late. Don't call it whatever you want. Just make sure you call me when my check is ready, okay? Listen, I got started in this industry 10 years ago and I was rich. So I know how to really communicate with rich people. I understand how we think. I understand, you know, I just understand the language of rich people. I really do. Whether you're conservative, it doesn't matter if you're conservative or not. I understand the language of rich people. And so I want to kind of really take my time on this one. I've got a meeting here in about another hour or so. So we'll probably be here for about a good 20-25 minutes. And I'm going to really try and keep the conversation very focused. So if you're ready to take some notes or whatever it is you're doing, I hope this message here brings you a tremendous amount of value. You know, I always love to have fun, but you also know it's always going to be jam-packed with real value, real content. And I promise you, we always will deliver and knock the ball right out of the park, okay? So here we go. Rich people, how to deal with rich people. 10 years ago, as I said, you know, I definitely was rich, so I could relate to, let me just tell you where I was. I thought network marketing was a scam. I thought that everyone involved was going to jail or going to hell in a handbasket. That's truly what I thought. I didn't believe in this industry. I was very negative. I was very skeptical against this industry. I just thought that the only way to make real money was to be a real professional in traditional business. That is what I thought. This notion of that you could make money from home and, you know, have all this free time and residual income, I just thought that was a bunch of crap. I didn't believe in any of that. And so that's really where I was. You know, at the time, you know, I was making millions of dollars annually. So literally I kind of had a little bit of an edge or chip on my shoulder. I was younger than I am now. I'm 38. So I became a millionaire when I was 25. So literally so we're talking right around 28 years old. So can you imagine, young, full of testosterone, got a lot of vigor, and you got some money too? Oh man, I was a lethal force back then for sure. So my head was really strong, and I just really was negative against this industry. And I personally will never forget that a wealthy friend of mine had called me one day, this is 10 years ago, and he said, listen, I want you to come over to my home, come over to his home, and he wanted me to meet someone who was extremely wealthy in this area of network marketing. And I remember saying, why do I need to come? For what, man? We already make a bunch of money. Why do you want me to come over? And he said 2 words. He said residual income. The gentleman that I want you to meet, Romacio, this guy is a multimillionaire, and his income comes in residually. It's residual income. It comes in every single month without him actually having to lift a finger. And I said, really? I said, I tell you what, I'll show up, you know, just to meet the guy, but I can tell you right now, I'm not signing up. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you guys to understand. I understand how rich people think. I really do. I fully understand them. And you don't have to be rich to understand how rich people think. But what you do have to learn is that there is a difference. There is a difference. There is a difference. If I could stop right now and give you a solid nugget for everyone watching this video, here's what I would tell you. Go grab the book called The Law of Difference. Go grab the book called The Law of Difference. Now, you know me, guys. I'm not a huge promoter of books. I'm just not. I like audios. And the reason why I'm not a huge promoter of books, I haven't read, you know, hundreds of books. And I'll be honest and tell you, I'm not a huge book reader. I'm a huge book scanner. I've scanned chapters, but there's not a lot of books that, unfortunately, that I could say that I've read from cover to cover. But the ones that I have read from cover to cover, absolutely out of sight difference makers. And one thing I want you to get is the book, The Law of Difference. The Law of Difference. The Law of Difference. Grab that book. Grab that book. If you want to understand how to explode your business and you want to understand how to deal with rich people, first of all, the first thing you've got to do is you have to recognize. There's another book called The Law of Recognition. Called The Law of Recognition. You have to recognize there is a difference. There is a difference. There is a difference in the mindset of rich people. There's a difference in how they see things. There is a difference. So you have to recognize that first of all. Once you've recognized that there is a difference in rich people, obviously there's an obvious difference. They're rich, you know, obviously they worked hard, you know, they've done things a little bit differently than the vast majority. Once you recognize that, then the way you deal with rich people is you, first of all, you don't want to ever try and act like you're something that you're not. Don't try and act like you're on their level if you're not. Let me just tell you this. Rich people, first of all, they never became rich by being closed-minded. You have to understand that. They never became rich by being closed-minded. So one of the things that I found in dealing with rich people, a lot of times it's a lot easier, believe it or not, to deal with rich people than it is to deal with people who are not successful at all. You know, rich people aren't as skeptical as people who aren't rich. Let me say that again. Rich people are not as skeptical as people that are not. rich because they know that they never became rich by being closed-minded. So if you want to deal successfully with rich people, the first thing that I want you to understand is you have to understand that there is a difference between the rich and the way that we think and the way that, you know, they operate versus everyone else. You have to, first of all, respect the fact that there is a difference. Now, rich people are not better than broke people. They're not better. Don't make sure you hear me clearly. They are not better, but they are further along in the area of financial development. They are further along in business and making money. They are further along. And so you do have to respect the fact. And one of the ways that you can show respect is obviously giving them a compliment, of what they've accomplished and what they've done. Make sure the compliment is sincere. Okay. Rich people can smell BS coming a long ways away. So make sure, I would say, to give them a compliment. The other thing you want to do in dealing with rich people is you want to really, once you've, I'm just trying to give it to you in sequential steps here. Number one, you want to recognize there's a difference. Number two, what you want to do is you want to, when dealing with rich people, it's very important that you're able to get to the point very quickly and you're able to speak the language, to speak our language. It's very important. So in other words, if you're in front of somebody who's rich, what you don't want to do is take forever to get to the point of what you're trying to say. Rich people really value their time. They really value their time. So whatever you're saying, get to it quickly. Don't be stammering around and stuttering around. Just get to the point. Okay? So first thing, recognize there's a difference. I told you to grab the book, The Law of Difference. You want to grab that book. It's by Mike Murdock. Okay? It's a really good book that really depicts the difference, in people. You got to understand that. The second thing is you don't want to, you want to make sure that you're speaking our language, which we're going to talk about that. That's the second thing. The third thing is you want to make sure you get to the point quickly. Get to your point quickly. And the fourth thing in dealing with rich people is you really have to know what you're talking about. You really have to know what you're talking about. So if you don't know what you're talking about, I highly would not recommend trying to go and meet with or talk to rich people. I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that. Let me give you an example. 10 years ago, when I went to go meet this gentleman 10 years ago in network marketing for the first time, when we sat down, remember, I was only planning to be there for 15 minutes. That was my goal. I told my friend I'll stop by, say hello to this guy for 15 minutes. And I can tell you, after 15 minutes, it turned into 4 hours that I was there because I was enjoying myself, because the gentleman that I was in front of, he knew exactly what he was talking about. He was very well polished. He wasn't trying to sell me. He didn't have a desperate energy about him. He was very solid. You can tell that he knew what he was talking about, and he could really articulate it in such a manner that was simple and easy for anyone to understand. And everything that he was talking about was valid. He would give you the source where that piece of information came from. So as a result, I was able to spend 3 hours with him, but it felt like what I learned in 3 hours was really information that took him at that time 18 years for him to learn. Let me say that again. In 3 hours, we were able to cover, basically, in a nutshell, almost 18 years of information. So my message to you in dealing with rich people, number one, I just want to be clear before I dive in here. Number one, you have to recognize that there is a difference. If you try and talk to rich people the same way that you talk to broke people, you're going to find it's going to be very difficult. You probably won't get very far. So you have to recognize that there is a difference, okay? Number two, the second thing is you want to get to your point quickly in dealing with rich people. Number three, you really want to really understand that you must know what you're talking about. You got to know what you're talking about, okay? You really have to know what you're talking about when you're dealing with rich people. And then number four, the fourth thing is I recommend, in dealing with rich people, compliment them for the success that they've been able to accomplish. Compliment them, okay? Now, let's go ahead and dive in a little bit deeper so I can give you some real good meat here. All right. So we talked about recognizing that there's a difference. All right. So what do you do once you recognize that there's a difference between the rich and the broke? Okay. Well, again, I told you need to know what you're talking about. Rich people, when you're dealing with rich people, you definitely want to make sure that you have a vision. You got to make sure that when you're communicating to rich people that you're talking about the vision. Getting into the details, you can do that later. Rich people tend to sum up things very quickly. We sum up stuff very, very quickly. So that's why I said you don't want to take long to express whatever it is you're talking about. So for example, when you're dealing with rich people, you don't want to, don't. It's best that you talk about the industry. Let me help you understand this. It's best that you talk about the industry. When dealing with rich people, it's best that you talk about the industry. Guys, I'm going to repeat myself deliberately because I want everyone watching this, if you're trying to learn right now, I want you to understand what we're talking about. If you want rich people to come into your organization and you want them to actually work with you and see what you see, you have to understand the number one reason why most people don't do this industry is because they don't understand the business model. They don't understand how this truly could work for them. And so many amateurs, what they do is they sell products. They go around trying to sell products to people. And I'm going to share this with you. Professionals, what we do is we sell vision. Did you catch the difference? Amateurs sell products while professionals, we sell vision. And so what you want to do, guys, is specifically when you're dealing with rich people, guys, you want to make sure that you understand the industry that you're involved in of network marketing or direct sales. You want to really make sure that you've taken the time, to understand the industry. Because if you're going to meet with me and you're going to sit down and you're trying to tell me about this vision or about this concept, this company you're involved in, you have to understand before a rich person will decide to join a company, they must understand the industry. I'm going to say that again. That's very profound. Before a rich person will decide to join a company, they must understand the industry. Remember, if they're rich already, they're really sharp. They're mentally sharp. They've got there because there's a difference on how they do things, how they think, how they operate. And so I can tell you that rich people, part of speaking the language to them, you have to know your industry. You have to be able to explain to a rich person in less than 3 minutes exactly how this industry works. Because there's a perception in that rich person's head about network marketing. And sometimes that perception is not positive. So therefore, you have to be prepared to discuss the industry. The industry. Now look, on this message here today, I'm not going to give you all the industry stats today. I'm not going to do that. That'll be a different training, a different day. But what I want to do is I want to share with you how you can become more effective in dealing with rich people if you understand how the rich people think. We want to understand the industry. How does it work? Not your company, but how does it work? How does this industry truly work? And you got to remember, get to the point. Get to the point. You don't have an hour. You don't have 30 minutes. So, remember, rich people, we sum up stuff very quickly. We sum up stuff very quickly. Get to the point. Now, that might be a homework assignment for those of you that are watching that want to get better in this industry. You might be saying to yourself, man, he's right. I don't know how to explain the industry in 3 minutes, or I don't know how to do that. Write that down. Write that down. Write that down. Write that down. That's a homework assignment. How do I explain this industry in 3 minutes or less? How do I really explain that? Because when you're in front of somebody rich, the last thing we want to hear is, hey, well, listen, can you give me a second? Let me put you on the phone with my buddy Bob. Bob's an expert. He knows all the answers to the question, and Bob will express. I don't want to talk to Bob. I don't want to talk to Bob. I want to talk to you. Let me say that again. The last thing a rich person wants to hear is, well, that's a great question. I'm sorry, I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that. Then they're sitting there thinking, what do you know? I'm just being honest. This is how we think. And so we don't want to talk to your upline. We don't want to, no, we don't. We want to talk to you. And the reason why we don't want to talk to the upline oftentimes is because we perceive the upline like they're the closer. Oh, okay, you want to put the closer on the phone. Somebody's going to come in and try and close me. And that doesn't work. That doesn't work at all. Okay, so here's what I can tell you. Here's what I can tell you, guys. Listen, show me some love if this is making sense to you so far. I don't want to go so fast here and give you too much too fast. Give me a thumbs up if this is making sense to any of you guys out there. All right. Okay. All right, here's what I want to do really quickly. Do me a favor, write me a question right now. Does anybody have any questions as it relates to how to deal with rich people so far? Because this is a much longer topic than 20 minutes, but I'm trying to give you the nuts and bolts best I can really quickly. This is, by the way, this is one of my favorite topics to talk about. So if you have any questions, write down your questions, or type in your question right now if you have a question on how to deal with rich people. Okay? Write down your question. Write down your question. What's up, Tasha? What up, TD? I see you. All right. Write down your question. I'm gonna wait a second here to see if any of you guys have any questions. Just type in your question here. I'll give you a second to type in your question. All right. One question reads, how do you actually step up to approach them? All right. Well, listen, remember, first of all, Eric, you got to understand that rich people, you have to understand, they did not become rich by being closed-minded. So you have to understand, in your mind, you think it's going to be very difficult to deal with rich people. In fact, it's a lot easier to deal with rich people. It really is. Because number one, they're not as judgmental of you as you are of you. I hope you caught that. Rich people are not as judgmental of you as you are of you. So rich people, we can handle if you stutter, if you don't sound right, we can handle all of that stuff. We can handle all of that. What rich people can't handle is if you're trying to put on a front, if you're trying to be something you're not. Rich people, write this down. Rich people respect the hustle of other people because they know we didn't become rich by just sitting on our fannies. Okay, so Eric, what I want you to understand, your question was, how do you actually step up and approach them? First of all, you have to have the mindset that, let me give you the mindset. I'm gonna give you guys a golden nugget. Are you guys ready for this? I hope you are. I'm gonna give you a golden nugget right now that will serve you for the rest of your life. I promise you. Get ready, here it comes. Okay? What I want you to understand is this. This is the mindset I want you to have. I want you to have the mindset that if this rich person could have someone like me working for him or her, they will be so much richer than what they already are. Woo! I hope you caught that. Let me say that again. Write that down. If this rich person could have someone like me working for him or her, whether it's male or female, they're going to be a whole lot richer than what they are. I'm going to say it again. See, because a lot of times you are feeling intimidated by the rich person's success. And you're right, you don't have their money today. But watch this. If they could have someone like you working for them, how much richer would they be? A whole lot richer. So I want you to hold your head up, number one. Don't ever try and put on a front and be something that you're not. Don't ever try and, start making up big words to sound extra intelligent, because we can read through all of that. Don't do that. But I want you to have the attitude about yourself that if they could have me working for them, oh man, he'd be a whole lot richer than what he is. That's right. The value that you bring to the rich person is your work ethic, your tenacity, your persistence. Okay? So I want you to really show me some love if you understand what I'm saying here. I want to make sure I don't want to lose anybody here on this little message here. All right, fantastic. Any other questions? If you got a question, type in your question. If not, I'm going to move on. I'm going to take 2 more questions. If you have any questions, anything you want to know about how to deal with the rich people. All right. I'll wait a second here. I'll wait for it. I'll wait for it. All right. Now, for example, give you an example. My neighbor across the street from me, he's worth about 50 to 60 million. Like literally, he just buys houses cash, literally. Okay. Right across the street. I won't tell you who he is and what he does, but he's very, very successful. I'll be honest with you. He sees me on the phone, doing calls and stuff like that. Sometimes I'm walking outside up and down the street, just doing calls and stuff, talking to you guys. And one day he comes up to me and he says, "Hey, Moss, what do you do?" And I listen. And I said, "I own an international marketing company." An international marketing company. He says, "Well, what do you guys market?" I said, "To be honest with you, I'm in the health and wellness space where we market different health and wellness products and things of that nature that really help people become healthier." And he says, "Really? Do you have stores?" I said, "No, it's all online." He says, "Man, that's the business of the future, man. Online is taking over everything." And he started to talk about how he wished that he had gotten into an online business many years ago, because that's not how he made his money online. And he says, "Wow." He says, "Well, what's the number one product?" And I said, well, I began to tell him, what it was that I was marketing, and he wanted to know more information about it. So, all right. So again, let's see here. I got 2 questions here. How do you get them to see never mind. That's not it. Wait, how do you get them to see the value of what you're doing? Okay. Once again, great question, Tanya. Great question. The way that you get them to see the value is you have to learn how to be able to talk about the industry. That's a great question. You see, the reason why you have to learn how to talk about the industry. You got to learn how to talk about the industry. You just got to. I'll give you one little tip right now on that question. The reason why network marketing is the most efficient means of marketing any product or service. It's the most efficient. The most efficient. The most efficient. I want you to write this down. That's why I'm repeating myself. It's the most efficient means of marketing a product or service. Why is that? The reason why is because it eliminates the middleman. Wait a minute. Who is the middleman? The middleman is all the different marketing, all the different people that need to, typically in traditional business, they have to pay for advertising. They have to pay for the sale. Let me explain myself. In traditional business, they have to pay for the sale that they acquired. So they had to pay for marketing or advertising, whether it's Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie on a billboard or whatever. They had to pay some type of form, they had to pay to market whatever it is that they're marketing to acquire that sale. Well, in network marketing, you don't have to do that because you're taking advantage of word of mouth advertising. And so because of the whole word of mouth advertising, that was free marketing. So now, word of mouth advertising is the most lucrative form of advertising in the world today. So if you have a valid product or service, and literally it can go from Bob to Sally, from Sally to Mike, from Mike to John, all because they know each other, right? That product will move much faster around the world and much more efficiently because I didn't have to spend a bunch of money in marketing. Okay? Does that make sense, Tanya? I just want to make sure you're following me so far. Okay? So you have to understand that network marketing is the most efficient means of distribution in the world today. And what you can do is once you learn the statistics of the industry that you're involved in, like it started in 1949, there's over 100 million people involved. There's 1,600 companies in the United States that I'm aware of. Last year, we did over $183 billion of revenue in this profession, okay? Over $200 million a day is being paid out in commissions right now. Okay, 78% of all the people that are involved are females. The average income is, $5,000 a month for those that apply themselves. The average amount of time that people work their business is about 10 to 15 hours a week, part-time. Okay, so when you know this information, and there's much more, but I've taken the time to learn the statistics about the profession that I'm involved in. And so once you know that information, Tanya, will truly empower you. And now when you actually are dealing with someone who's rich, you won't be offended. You won't be turned off by the fact that you're involved in one of those things. It's just that they don't understand the industry, and they need someone like you to make it simple, make it plain, and get to the point very quickly, so that they can go, oh, wow, I see. Oh, that makes sense. Now, I've become extremely good at that. Now, why did I become good? Because I wanted to have a bunch of successful people in my organization. I wanted to do business with people that were already successful. I love all people, but I felt that it would be easier to build a network with people that were already successful. Why would it be easier? Because those people, number one, have the money to join. Number two, they're oftentimes a lot of fun to be around, okay? And number three, if they were to get involved in my business, guess what? Most likely they could make the biggest impact. They have influence, right? And they're already successful. So if they're already succeeding over there, if they believed in this thing, they probably would succeed over here. So it was a smart decision, okay? A lot of the times when you're dealing with broke people, yeah, they're probably excited about your product or excited about wanting to make more money, but oftentimes they aren't willing to do what's necessary to get out of that broke situation. I hope you caught that, okay? Let's get to the next question here. I think somebody had a question. Let's see here. Let me see here. All right. Okay, the question is, do rich people prefer face-to-face versus over the phone? Listen, that's it depends upon their personality. Let me explain. Some people are visual. They need to see things, that's why they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Some people like me, I'm highly auditory. So when you're talking, I'm really listening to what you're really saying. That's me, okay? And so it just kind of depends upon who you're talking to, if they prefer to be face-to-face versus over the phone. It also depends upon the generation that they've come up in. Like, for example, I'll use an example. My neighbor across the street, he's probably in his mid-60s or something like that. He's very wealthy. But in his generation, hey, listen, they want to see your eyeballs. They don't want to be doing all this major business, so they want to see your face, So it just kind of depends on who you're dealing with. I got some young people that are rich that, just get on Skype. Just talk to me on the phone, right? So it just kind of depends on who you're dealing with. All right, one more question, guys, and I want to wrap up here in just the next 3 to 4 minutes. One more question. Anybody else got a question? Let's see here. I got several questions here. All right. Do you exposure in the United Kingdom? Steve, I don't quite understand the question. Do you exposure in the United Kingdom? Maybe you might want to rewrite that for me, brother. All right. Any other questions? So, dealing with successful people, guys, or dealing with rich people, I love it. I love it. It sharpens your knife so fast. It really does, because it forces you to get better. All right, here's your question here. Do I have exposure in the I don't quite understand. Do I have exposure in the United Kingdom? Are you asking me, do I do business with people in the United Kingdom? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I do business with people all over the world, So it doesn't matter what country you're in. I do business with people all over the world. Absolutely. So, all right, guys. I don't see another question here, so I'm going to go ahead and I want to cover my last point. My last point is, in dealing with rich people, guys, is you got to have fun. You got to have fun. Don't be so serious. Have a good time. Have fun, you know. Learn to ask questions. The person asking questions is the one who's in control. How to get an appointment with a rich person about my business. Okay, well, you're gonna have to go back and re-listen to this whole message here that we've actually done here. Okay. All right, Steve, what you can do is send me a private message once this is over, and we can talk about that. How to get an appointment with a rich person in my business. Okay, so what I like doing is this. I'll give you guys a tip. Okay. All right. When I was just getting started in my network marketing business, and I was super hungry, and I was super determined to become successful, and I'm still super hungry and still super determined to become even more successful, okay? But one of the things I love to do is I would tell the person I was working with, let's just say his name was Bob. I don't know why I always use the name Bob. It's simple. I'd say, Bob, listen, can you write down the top 5 people that are very successful that you know? Give me a list of the top 5 people that are very successful that you know. And so Bob would write down his list, and I would say, Bob, would you do me a favor and contact those people and let them know that I'm gonna be giving them a call on your behalf? I'm gonna be calling on your behalf. I'll do the call. And so what I would do is let's say Bob's contact was named Shirley, okay? What I would do is I would call Shirley, and I would say, hey, Shirley, this is me, Romacio. I'm calling you on behalf of Bob. Did Bob let you know that I was going to be calling you? And Shirley may say, no, Bob, he didn't tell me. And I would say, oh my goodness, Bob, he was supposed to let you know that I was going to be calling you. I had asked Bob who was some of the most successful people that he knew, and he gave me your number. Hey, listen, Shirley, I know we don't know each other. I hope I'm not interrupting you. If you got a quick minute, just a quick minute, there's a reason specifically why I'm calling you. Shirley would say, okay, I got a quick minute. Hey, listen, Shirley, obviously, you know, Bob told me you were an XYZ profession. I want to first of all say congratulations on your success, number one. But number two, I had a question for you. Bob and I, we're working on a very, very serious project that's really very lucrative. And that's the reason why you wanted me to contact you. Shirley, do you keep your business options open as it relates to other ways of generating significant cash flow outside of what you do full time? Once again, Shirley, do you keep your business options open as it relates to generating additional money or cash flow in addition to what you do full time? And she's going to say yes or no. Hey, well, listen, if she says, yes, I do. Hey, well, listen, I'm sure you're probably busy, got a lot going on. Hey, Shirley, I'd like to be able to get some information in front of you to take a quick peek at what we're about to embark on. It's pretty exciting. I can't make you any promises. How would you best recommend that I get that information to you? Text it to you, email it to you, or would you like to meet face to face? And based off of what she says, that's when I'm going to actually go ahead and send the information. Okay? So that's kind of a real quick, simple way of what I would do is I would actually say, hey, Bob, listen, I know you're very busy, but I also know you know a few people that are successful. And what I would do back then, this is back then, and I don't do it as much now. I don't call people's people anymore. But when I was hungry and I was trying to get my organization going and I just wanted to work with successful people, but I only knew a few people, this is way back when, this is what I would do. This is what I would do. I would literally, just say, hey, Bob, can you give me a list of the top 5 people you knew? Now, listen, I'll tell you, it works every time. It works every time. I have built some very large organizations from just that one little approach right there. Okay? I can't wait in future videos to teach you guys how to really build the network. I can't wait to teach that. But right now, this is not that training. I just want to teach you a little bit at a time, And so the purpose of this video is to teach you how to deal with rich people. Number one, you've got to, first of all, don't try and, put on any fronts. Be who you are. Have the mindset that rich people are easier to deal with than broke people. It's true, they are. Okay? All right? Number two, when dealing with rich people, you have to know what you're talking about. Don't talk about your company so much. Talk about the industry. The biggest thing or the biggest reason why people don't want to get involved in network marketing, it's not your products. It's not your company. It's not your compensation. It's they have an issue with the industry. So you have to attack that issue. You have to really speak to that. It's like the big white elephant in the room. You can't just not talk about that. You gotta learn how to really talk about that, to talk about the industry to where they feel comfortable. Oh, okay, I see what you mean. That makes sense. I get it. Okay. You have to learn how to do that. And it's going to take you some time to practice on that. But if you want someone like me, for example, just giving an example, in your organization, you got to know what you're talking about. You got to know what you're talking about. Number 3, get to the point very quickly. Make sure you should be able to summarize this industry within 3 minutes in such a way that it compels me to say, hey, I want to know more. That's pretty interesting. That makes sense. Okay. All right. And then number 4, have fun. Have fun. Have fun. So listen, guys, hopefully this message brought you some value. I want you to understand that there is a difference between rich people and broke people. I'd like for you to get that book, the Law of Recognition. I'd like you to get the book, The Law of Difference. I believe if you can really understand the law of difference, that's going to make tremendous, that's going to help you tremendously in your life. It literally, you will be so excited after you understand the law of difference. It'll really help you out big time. So with that, guys, listen, today is Saturday. I'm not going to see you tomorrow, but we will see you Monday right back here, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, guys. Monday's topic is going to be absolutely incredible. For many of you know, every Sunday we have networking wisdom. We have our training call, which I'll be doing it this Sunday. So if you got time, jump on 4 o'clock Pacific. We'll see you there. Otherwise, guys, if you want to know more about what I'm doing, how I'm doing, what I'm doing, and if you just want to be connected, you can click on the link above, workwithromacio.com. And literally we'll be in touch. All right, guys, great things are happening in my world, and I hope and I wish the same thing for you. Remember, every time I talk to you, I always end with this. Remember, in everything that you do, 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 there's nobody in this world any greater than you. With that, guys, this is the California Kid. I love you guys. I'll see you guys on the next Facebook Live conversation. Love y'all. Have a great day, guys.